Well, joining us live now is the New South Wales Premier Chris Minns. Premier, thanks again for your time this morning. So the impact time has pushed out a little. What's the latest information that you've got this morning?
Yeah, Pete, you're right. The impact time was originally meant to be 2 a.m. Friday morning. We're now expecting it in the afternoon on Friday. It's lingering in the Coral Sea and the Pacific Ocean longer than we'd expected, but obviously the category's still at 2, and there's widespread potential damage in the northern rivers and southern Queensland, so everybody's still on high alert. Unfortunately, the window's a bit longer than we originally expected. Yeah,
so when you get to, you mentioned the northern rivers there, I do want to ask you, because I mean obviously your job is to deal with worst case scenarios, so what's the likely impact on New South Wales here? What are you looking at?
Yeah, there's about 20,000 houses that the SES have designated as prepared to evacuate. That's all available on the Hazards Near Me app. We've pre-positioned 2,000 SES volunteers, including 40 flood rescue crews into the Northern Rivers region, Fire and Rescue New South Wales Police, as well as the town and the local council. Everybody up here is ready for the worst case scenario. Obviously, we hope that doesn't eventuate. We hope for the best, but we need to be prepared for all eventualities, and obviously this is a serious threat to a large number of people in the state's north.
Premier, a couple of points this morning, just having a chat with the Deputy Mayor of the Gold Coast. There's been some mixed messaging from Queensland about the closure of some Woolies supermarkets. They were told to close when they didn't have to. What's your direction to the supermarkets in the northern part of New South Wales?
Yeah, today in particular we're asking supermarkets to stay open, and we will give the latest information and have done to the big supermarket retailers. We will do that. We did that last night, yesterday evening, ensured that there was both the federal government's emergency management centre as well as the New South Wales SES was on hand to give the latest information to the retailers. But ultimately, notwithstanding the fact we're asking people to be careful and to prepare to evacuate, people still need to eat, and we hope and expected Woolworths and Coles to be open today. If they've got staff shortages, but we ask customers to be incredibly patient in the circumstances, and supplies may be running low or lower than they ordinarily would. But particularly today, we're hopeful that retailers can stay open. Our understanding is that maybe a bit under half of the Northern Rivers Woolworths stores are open today, having originally been slated to be closed. They're going to open their doors, which is good news. But unfortunately, Peter, it's a bit of an hour-by-hour proposition. We'd love to have the latest information, but we've got to rely on what the storm's doing. And both the government, retailers, private business and mums and dads are going to have to make decisions based on the latest information.
Yeah, and just in terms of preparation, there is some frustration this morning relating to sandbags. Folks in Byron can't get any more. What are you doing to fix that?
Yeah, the SES is working to resupply Byron. We didn't have shortages yesterday. We're expecting it to run a little bit short, but pre-supplies, they don't have to come all the way from Sydney. They're pre-supplied into the Northern Rivers, so hopefully we can fix that as the day goes on. We're going to have shortages as the next 72 hours eventuates, but with good cooperation across the levels of government and working closely with the community, if we can keep communication up, if we can get the latest information, hopefully we won't have too many shortages. The best way of doing that, Pete, is to encourage people to download the Hazards Near Me app, put that on your phone. That'll give you the up-to-date latest information, in particular about potential evacuations in your community.
Premier, I mean, you mentioned yesterday that those evacuation centres are open. Have you got many people in those at the moment?
No, we haven't. There's a few, I understand, in the Cape Byron area, but there are many that are open. They're all available on the SES website, and we're going to keep that up to date. More are being added as the days go on. So there are emergency centres that are available if electricity goes out, if you're running low on food supplies, if you're in an emergency situation. But today's the day to act, and we're not calling for evacuations at the moment, but we are saying if you're in a vulnerable situation, if you are concerned about your safety, then Thursday is the day to relocate. Obviously, don't leave it until it's too late, and you don't want to be on the road when the storm front hits.
And are you forecasting issues with flooding afterwards in terms of being able to get to, say, Woolies if roads are cut off? I mean, there's going to be an issue getting supplies after the fact, right?
Yeah, there may be. I mean, we can't predict the future. However,
Sure.
both the supermarket chains and the government have worked pretty well in the past on ensuring that there's logistical supply lines into all the cities and all the towns in the Northern Rivers. Sometimes an area will be cut off, but it can be resupplied traditionally from the south if the weather pattern's coming from the north.
Yeah.
So look, I don't know what the future holds. What I do know is that they're pretty experienced up here in ensuring that they can get resupplies to communities that have been cut off and vulnerable. But part of that, Pete, is ensuring that people listen if there's an evacuation order, because they do take that into consideration if there's going to be a prolonged time in which a town's cut off from the rest of the community.
Yep. Okay. You've been generous with your time as always. Chris Minns, New South Wales Premier, there joining us live from Lismore. Thank you, Premier.